Hey guys, what is going on? This is Wrestlelamia, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly from last night's Saturday edition of AEW Dynamite, plus the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including Charlotte Flair escorted out of the arena following SmackDown, details in relation to the backstage perception of Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, Carmella and Corey Graves announced their engagement, plus much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. As always, we won't recap the show, we will just provide you with the good, the bad, and the ugly. As always, we start off with the good. Bryan Danielson versus Dustin Rhodes. The opening match for last night's special edition of AEW Dynamite featured Bryan Danielson taking on Dustin Rhodes. This first-time ever matchup acted as a match in the AEW World Title Eliminator Tournament, and it was without question one of Dustin's best matches in AEW. The two AEW stars had a great opening match, and there were some near falls which made it look like Dustin was actually going to beat Bryan. Nevertheless, Bryan got the victory and advanced to the next round of the tournament, where he will meet Eddie Kingston next week on Rampage. MJF's promo. The rivalry between MJF and Darby Allin continued last night as MJF cut a rather controversial promo on the Icon Sting. In the promo, MJF referenced drug use and even alluded to Sting's friend Lex Luger. The build towards MJF's and Darby's eventual showdown has been really well executed, and the way that AEW have used Sting's star power has been incredibly smart. MJF continues to be one of AEW's brightest young stars, and as AEW heads into 2022, it's rather likely that MJF eventually gets inserted into AEW's competitive yet decorated main event scene. The bad. Cody Rhodes wins. The main event of Dynamite featured Cody Rhodes taking on Malachi Black for the third and seemingly final time. As this was Black's first major feud in AEW, fans had assumed that Black would come out on top, but rather shockingly, Cody got the victory. Fans have since questioned this booking decision. Fans have asked questions such as, why did Cody win, and where does this leave Black on the AEW ladder? It seems like a really nonsensical booking decision. There are rumors that AEW could be turning Cody heel, but did he really need to defeat one of AEW's brightest new talents to achieve this? Hopefully AEW knows what they're doing with this, and fans simply need to be patient. Lance Archer's unfortunate injury. During the Lance Archer vs. Eddie Kingston match on Dynamite, Archer went for a moonsault, and he unfortunately landed on his head. There was immediate concern that Archer had been hurt, and the response from the AEW referee was to inform Archer to exit the ring so the doctor could take a look at him. This was when it was decided that the best cause of action was for Archer to roll back into the ring and receive a roll-up from Kingston to end the match. This wasn't the planned finish, but AEW could have simply called off the match rather than allowing Archer to finish the match, especially if Archer was having problems with his neck. There is no official medical update on Archer at this time, but Archer did post a tweet saying, "Listen, we choose to do this and take our health and lives in our hands every night. I've done that move hundreds of times over my career, just under-rotated. Could have been much worse. Thank you all at AEW for taking amazing care of me and protecting me. I'll be back." The ugly. Although there were some nonsensical booking decisions on Dynamite last night, nothing truly falls in the ugly category. There was a ton of character development in backstage segments and a number of first-time matches, which is always something to be appreciated. AEW is just a few weeks away from the Full Gear pay-per-view, and it looks to be one of the most anticipated AEW pay-per-views of all time. The pay-per-view is set to be headlined by Kenny Omega vs. Adam Page for the AEW World Title, and AEW are planning on announcing a number of additional matches for their annual pay-per-view event. The news. Charlotte Flair ejected from SmackDown by security team. One of the top stories in the wrestling industry this weekend has been the backstage confrontation between Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch, which took place following Friday's edition of SmackDown. PW Insider reported that the issue arose after Charlotte voiced concerns in relation to the booking of the title exchange segment. PW Insider states that Charlotte was stating that she didn't want to look bad in the segment, and Charlotte went off script in the segment itself and dropped the women's title belt to the mat. It's been reported that the backstage confrontation between the two was brought about thanks to Charlotte deliberately trying to make Becky look bad during the segment. Interestingly, The Charlotte and Becky friendship has been strained for some time now. People close to both superstars in WWE said that the friendship began to fall apart when Becky referred to Charlotte as plastic during a promo segment a number of years ago. According to Brian Alvarez from the Wrestling Observer, Charlotte was actually escorted out of the arena on Friday by security. This just goes to show how heated the situation was and how WWE simply didn't want Charlotte in the proximity of any other talent, especially Becky Lynch. This report of Charlotte being ejected from the arena on Friday aligns with Charlotte's fiancé Andrade tweeting a rather crude tweet directed at WWE. In a further update to the story released by TalkSport's Alex McCarthy today, he claims that Charlotte was claiming that dropping the title during the segment was a complete accident. But obviously, Becky didn't buy Charlotte's take on the events that unfolded. WWE locker room firmly behind Becky Lynch. In relation to the locker room and how they've perceived the issue between Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch, it's been reported that the WWE superstars are firmly on Becky's side. PW Insider states that WWE superstars believe that Becky did nothing wrong and was simply trying to protect her character and image. Ringside News also noted that there was some disappointment between the SmackDown roster that Becky was moving off the brand. Becky is said to be a great superstar to have in the locker room, and there was indeed some resentment that Becky had been drafted to Raw, whilst Charlotte had been drafted to SmackDown. PW Torch released a report yesterday which stated that nobody in the locker room wants to work with Charlotte, and they revealed that Charlotte has been increasingly difficult to work with backstage. Wade Keller from PW Torch added, "One wrestler said Becky is seen as a hero for standing up to Charlotte, who, over the course of this year, has alienated her colleagues backstage with attitude issues. She's been increasingly difficult to work with." Another wrestler tells PW Torch that Becky is universally respected and liked among her colleagues, and Charlotte crossing her like that was the final straw for people who are trying to give her the benefit of the doubt through a string of other issues she's been having. She's been more and more isolating herself behind the scenes. No other women want to work with her now, one wrestler tells PW Torch, citing she is seen as only interested in how she looks and scrutinizing everything she's involved in through a self-centered filter. The Demon returns. No, not that demon. We're not talking about Finn Balor's demon alter ego. We're talking about the demon who was in WCW during their final years as a promotion. In rather shocking fashion, the demon made its return to pro wrestling, with an appearance at Impact Wrestling's Bound for Glory last night. The demon would appear in the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match, and although the former WCW star didn't win the match, it was certainly great to see him back in the squared circle. Carmella and Corey Graves announced their engagement. Taking to social media last night, former women's champion Carmella announced that both her and Corey Graves are now engaged. Carmella would post an image of the two kissing, and her engagement ring was in full view for fans to see. The duo have been dating since 2019, and their relationship has been alluded to on WWE programming, but it's never been officially stated that they are indeed a couple. Carmella recently was drafted to Raw in the 2021 draft. This was so that she was on the same roster as Graves, who acts as the color commentator for WWE's longest-running show. We here at Wrestlelamia wish the happy couple all the best with their future. There you have it, folks, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Don't forget to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time back for some more wrestling content.